our first topic, like I said, this was a pretty Souls heavy episode. One of the coolest rumors that's going around as far as people who are into Souls is that the developer's hiring for a new dark fantasy RPG. Now, this is interesting for a couple of reasons because, A, we've heard that they're not working on Souls anymore. Would you classify Bloodborne as dark fantasy? No, right?
You could.
I mean, technically it's cosmic horror, but yeah, I mean, you could call it whatever.
Yeah. So basically what I want to talk about with this topic, because I know you're such a huge Souls guy, Ian, is do you think that this hiring is... What do you think this hiring is for specifically, and what do you think From's next game is going to be? Obviously, we all want it to be Bloodborne 2, but what do we think their next release is going to be? The job listing, basically the way this rumor came about is that they found a job listing for a company that From has done job hirings through before. The location is the exact location where From's located in Japan. It's like, oh, it's across the street from this whatever, and then if you go and look where From's located, it's the exact location. So it's 100% that this is From hiring. In the thing it states, like I said, they're hiring for a dark fantasy RPG. They're looking for a 2D artist with background in character creature design experience. So it's like totally Souls related, right? So I just want you guys to take the floor, and what do you guys think From's cooking up, and what do you think this hiring is specifically for?
I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that if Bloodborne 2 is happening, they've already started it, like, a while ago.
Yeah.
I think this would be for Kingsfield.
Oh.
Ooh. Catch me up. I'm not familiar.
Possibly a VR Kingsfield, but who knows? First person. So it's like, Legend of Grimrock?
Yeah.
Like a screen-by-screen dungeon crawler. Kingsfield was sort of like that. It was a precursor to Dark Souls, and I don't know if they were under the name FromSoftware at the time. I'm not sure, but I know that some of the same, like, it's got the same background as far as some of the people and stuff.
They use some of the same lore. I know that. Like, that game had the Moonlight Sword, I think, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. There are definitely little homages, but like, I would not be surprised if they put out a Kingsfield game, and I would not be surprised if it was VR or VR compatible. Yeah, because I mean, like, doing a VR game like that where you teleport forward of screen, that's how, like, VR games that don't make you puke kind of work already. And I don't know, because if Miyazaki said that he's not doing Souls anymore, and maybe the rest of the team is going to do Souls, who knows, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was Kingsfield. I also wouldn't be surprised if it's just something entirely new, like Souls-like but different, like different gameplay style. Like, my gut, besides the Kingsfield thing, is that the Souls-esque gameplay might continue in another Bloodborne game or similar game.
Okay.
But I think that they would, and if it is dark fantasy, whatever, but I think they might shake things up gameplay-wise, because I think that they like to try new stuff sometimes. Who knows?
What were you going to say, Dom?
I like that, because my initial thought was something new, something different, like you said.
Yeah.
Maybe just the same kind of my thought was like same kind of gameplay, but even a different setting from Dark Souls and from Bloodborne. I don't know what that would be. Maybe some.
I think they might go forward through time some more.
That's what I was going to say. Some at a different time, really. But I like that idea of Kingsfield, especially in VR. That could be really cool. But yeah, my gut, or I hope it's Bloodborne 2, right? I think you could classify that as dark fantasy. You're right. I think you really need the word cosmic in there somewhere. Even not, I wasn't super in on all the lore, but there's definitely some cosmic
Lovecraftian.
Right.
The reason I hope it's not Bloodborne 2 is I hope that they're beyond the stage where they would need to hire a 2D concept artist.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good point.
Because if that's what they're doing, then that game's not coming out for 2 more years,
Do you think we would ever live in a full circle reality where From could possibly make a Berserk game?
It would be interesting.
Do you think that would work?
It would be interesting. Oh, absolutely. If they just basically did Dark Souls, but it was Berserk license, I mean, they've been doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. it's just interesting to me to see like how much it's influenced it, and if it would come full circle and they would get the rights to it, or like, you know, they're like, hey, you're obviously doing Berserk, do Berserk, you know, because that's technically he can say I'm not doing Souls because they're not doing Souls. So.
Right. I mean, I would believe that they wouldn't want to, because I just know how much he likes, and they all seem to really like making their own lore and being really, you know, detailed about that kind of thing. And I would say that could be an argument either for or against them doing a licensed product, because either they don't want to do it because they like owning it and they like doing their own thing, or they would really love digging in and putting in all these details that fans would recognize, you know, like just little nods to side characters and lore and stuff. And I mean, the Berserk manga has more than enough to draw from, you know, so yeah, who knows? I wonder what arc they would do. Yeah, it's probably after Golden Age, but who knows?
It's just an idea to throw out there, you know, something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not far-fetched.
An interesting fact in the article I got this news story from, they mentioned, I thought this was interesting because I didn't know about this. From Software has released at least one game every single year, going all the way back to 1994.
That really surprised me.
Yeah.
But then you remember that they own Armored Core and like a few other things that just kind of come out and no one's like, oh, hey.
So that's interesting to me because like we have had substantial DLC for Dark Souls 3, but they've released a full game every year. So I don't know if they're breaking the thing, or if we do get a game, because they've stated before they had 3 games in development, right?
Yeah. One
of them was Armored Core for sure, I think they said. I forgot one of them was VR, and then they said the third one, they didn't say anything about the third one. Now we know it's, I'm assuming this dark fantasy.
I think it was I think it was something they said one of them, Armored Core 1, something along the lines of what we'd expect, and then something newer, you know.
Okay. Yeah. So I think what that means is Armored Core, Bloodborne 2, and then maybe a VR Kingsfield.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And I think that this hiring would be for the Kingsfield.
So do you think we see Armored Core then this year? Like, if we had or is it Bloodborne 2, I'm assuming, right? If we had to pick one of those 3 projects to come out this year, which one would be farthest along? Bloodborne 2?
Not Bloodborne.
You don't think Bloodborne?
I think I wouldn't be surprised if we heard about both and then Armored Core came out first.
Yeah, that could be.
I mean, the way it seems like things have to be working. I'm looking at the list of their games right now and like release dates and stuff. It seems like the way that it has to work over there is they've got 3 teams.
Okay.
And they're agnostic. Like Miyazaki's probably bouncing between them all, and like definitely has he's the director of, you know, one project at a time, but he's overseeing probably all of them. But you know, it's got to be that. Because just Bloodborne coming out in March 2015 and Dark Souls 2 coming out in March 2014 and Miyazaki directing Bloodborne and not Dark Souls 2, you know, that would be an argument against Bloodborne 2 coming out already because Miyazaki directed Dark Souls 3. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they've got, you know, teams, boots on the ground on multiple things at the same time.
I have a question for you because I've often talked about how badly I hope none of From's games are console exclusive, but the Xbox owner in me kind of wants Xbox to have its own From exclusive, you know, kind of like a jab at Bloodborne because it's such a good game. Do you think the reason they were so okay with doing Bloodborne as an exclusive was because they didn't own the IP? Do you think do you think Microsoft could approach them to be like, hey, we want Armored Core exclusive, or do you think From's like, no, we'd only do new IP exclusive? Like, how do you think they'd handle that situation? Like, if they were approached by Microsoft? Because no doubt they had at least asked, right? Phil had to have asked.
I wonder. I mean, I almost think that From Software would probably be down. I think that Armored Core would fit better on, like, or something like Armored Core would maybe be a better fit on Microsoft.
Yeah.
Just because there's been this pedigree or like legacy of Souls-like games on the PlayStation. So since Demon's Souls, it's kind of just been like, even to the point that I have a funny story about this. I tried to get my friend to play Dark Souls, and he finally did, and he hated it. Even though I was like, "What? This is
It's a
this is like
masterpiece.
you, the game. It's like, well, not even that. Like, I love it, sure, but like, I'm like, this doesn't make sense from what I know of you and what your tastes are.
Yeah.
You know? And then I was like, well, what are you playing it on? And he was playing it on PC with an Xbox controller.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, this is gonna sound really stupid, but try it with a PlayStation controller. And then he did, and now it's one of his favorite series of all time. And like, that is just weird, but I think there's something to it. I don't know.
The
I love
PC port.
Offset.
The PC port was utter garbage of the first Dark Souls, so that might have been part of it.
Blight time.
Yeah, maybe
15
then played it on
frames.
PlayStation.
God.
But you know, it's just a weird thing because I've played them with the Xbox controller too, and for me it just feels weird.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not trying to sound like a fan person or whatever, but like, I don't know, you know. But also, I think that if Sony caught wind of Microsoft trying to buy a Souls-like exclusivity from, they would drop a plane full of money on From's doorstep and just say no.
Yeah.
Because I think Microsoft kind of just knows that they've like Sony's got this one.
Exactly.
Like, I think
Yeah.
it would be weird. Although it might, for that exact reason, it might be a great play because I would have to buy an Xbox Scorpio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
You know, like
Armored
I would
Core.
have to.
God. Or Souls like
Yeah.
It's weird to me because like for me I love the offset joysticks, like, and to me playing Souls on DualShock would probably feel weird to me. So it's just funny
Sure,
taste wise and everything. It's probably
It's what you're
also like
used
yeah, what you're used to exactly. And like Dom said, that the Dark Souls on PC was not necessarily super great as far as performance and everything.
Well, and every most PC people probably play it with Xbox controllers.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
You know.
Um,
I mean, like, I love the PS4 controller. My second favorite controller of all time is this one, the Switch Pro controller, and that has offset joysticks.
yeah.
You know, I think this controller is fantastic.
That's why I was like,
But,
so excited when they showed it off because I was like, oh yes, I'm so excited to play with the offset joystick Xbox-like
Yeah.
controller because that's my favorite type of controller. So,
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's weird.
I think that's it for everything regarding From's next game.